Welcome back to Athletic Everyday, day number 104. So this is the first kind of like weight training slash plyometric day of the program. And for those of you that do remember, or for those of you that don't, I guess, this is going to be the sort of day where I focus on improving my clean and my back squat. So today was meant to be sort of higher volume, moderate intensity cleans, so 3 sets of 3. And then it was supposed to be lower volume, high intensity back squats, but I forgot and I did higher volume, lower intensity back squats, 4 sets of 5. Coming off of, the last sort of 24 hours, I wasn't expecting this workout to go too well. But to be honest with you, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. And I started this workout at 8 p.m. and I finished it pretty much bang on 8:50. For those of you that do know, that you remember in the past, I always am a big fan of high intensity, very short time interval workouts. When you've got a very short amount of time to get the work in and you just have to get it in quickly, it really does improve the quality of the workout. At least in my perspective, in my experience. So the rationale behind me doing these plyometrics as a warm-up is to get a good amount of kind of moderate intensity, extensive / intensive plyometrics. These aren't very specific to jumping, but I don't do very many multi-directional plyometrics, especially not lateral ones. So these, what I'm focusing on is a very short ground contact time. So I'm trying to sort of like punch off the ground there, and then just alternating the feet. So the first set I was punching off my right foot, and then this set I'm punching off my left foot. These are kind of like a vertical jump specific, a 2-foot vertical jump specific depth drop, because you're jumping off of a higher incline to start, which means you have to kind of naturally extend the length of your penultimate step, and therefore get lower when you do your block and your plant foot. So that was kind of my reasoning behind that. And instead of doing X number of sets and reps of the plyometrics, there's a really cool strength coach who I follow on YouTube. Go follow, his name is Will Rattel. He is a very big fan of, instead of having a time limit for plyometrics, instead of having a set and rep limit, spoiled it, you should have a time limit for plyometrics. So set yourself 10, 15, 20 minutes where you just do plyometrics, rest as needed, and then just gradually ramp up the intensity throughout those 5 to 10 minutes. What I did was I set myself a 10-minute timer. That way I was able to just get all the work in and then only rest when I needed to. And again, it really saved a lot of time, but it also meant that it was actually a really good warm-up for these cleans. I felt like when I did these cleans, even though I'm like really tired, haven't had that much sleep recently, I don't know what it was about the plyometrics, but they really ramped up my nervous system and got me fired up for these cleans. So all in all, they were actually pretty good. I came into today expecting to do like nothing more than like maybe 80 or 90 kilos for triples, but I ended up doing 100 kilo triples, and they felt quite easy, to be honest with you. I didn't get like pinned in the hole at all. I guess just the knowledge of knowing that I can do a max power clean of like 115 kilos, and this is 15 kilos less than that. It does make me sort of feel that I can, I can at least grind through the reps, but ideally not. But yeah, these 100 kilos for triples move quite easily, and you'll notice I didn't put the pads down either. What I wanted to do was just cycle between the reps, because when you drop the bar on the pad and then pull it back off the pads and put it back down, that kind of disrupts the rhythm of what you're trying to do with the cleans. Whereas when you drop it back down into the power position, then drop it to the floor, it's kind of like restarting a deadlift when you just drop it back into position and then you can just start pulling off the floor again straight away. Again, that's another factor that made this workout go quickly. It might not seem like much, but if you're dropping the bar, resting in between reps, that can almost make you more tired. I don't know, maybe it is just the intention of trying to pull high intensity and just get it done quickly. It meant that I could get these cleans done really fast. I mean, 3 sets of 3 isn't super duper high volume, it's only 9 reps. But, I got them done really fast, and I was thinking in between sets, I'm just going to go when I'm ready. Don't think about resting for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, just go in between sets whenever you feel like you're ready. Now, this first set of back squats, I decided to do with 120 to see how it felt. Wasn't sure how strong my legs were going to feel after those cleans, and I did a spin class earlier today. But they were feeling pretty good. So I decided that after this 120, I would go up to 130, and I was potentially thinking about going up to 140, but that wasn't happening today. I think the highest I've ever done for 5 in back squats is 140. So it'd be interesting to see if after a couple of weeks of this cycle, I will be able to get up to 140 kilos. But the 130 was moving okay. One thing I did try and emphasize in, I think it was the second or the third set. The first set I did 120, second set I did 130, third and fourth as well. I decided that I was going to focus on actually trying to load up my legs a lot more in terms of pushing my knees forwards over my toes, trying to get more knees over toes action, of course. It might sound obvious, obviously you have to do that in a high bar back squat, but a lot of people, they'll think about doing that. They'll think that they're doing that, but what they're really doing, especially, people with long fevers, most likely Europeans, people of European ancestry. If you have very long femurs, then the chances are you're probably going to want to err towards the side of loading towards your hip and doing like a good morning squat. So really definitely thinking about trying to push those knees out forwards over your toes and slightly outwards is really, really a good cue to help load up those quads. Speaking of load up the quads and the VMO, I also did some Peterson step-ups, although I guess these are kind of Poliquin step-ups. I wasn't sure whether I was elevating my heel because, I'm elevating my heel inside my weightlifting shoe, but I was only just on a few of the reps, sort of actually letting my whole heel in the shoe and the shoe itself lift up off of the weight. So that's what these were. 60 kilos is probably the heaviest I've done with these, and it felt pretty easy, although the actual elevation of my foot isn't that high. That's a 25 kilo plate underneath my foot, which is probably about 3.5 inches at most. So usually I'm doing this off a little bit higher height, but these felt good as well. And then I superseded those with some tibialis raises. Both of these were 2 sets of 10. With the Peterson step-ups, I was kind of just trying to focus on like just pulsing the reps rather than pausing in the bottom, just so I could get that eccentric rate of force development, because then if the bar is coming down and it's moving down with, accelerating downwards, then my muscle has to work. My muscle and tendon, of course, have to work in the opposite direction to slow that down when I reverse and change direction and come back upwards. Again, another factor for improving rate of force development in that amortization phase, making that amortization phase, that turnaround really quickly when you do vertical jump. Anyway, that is pretty much it for me today. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll hopefully catch you in the next one.